Hello, chess fans. This is Thug Dog. I am starting a new series today. We're going to play some Crazy House. I'm going to give you some information about how this game is different than normal chess. It's a very fun variant. But yeah, let's get into this. So Crazy House, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Bug House, where you have two boards and you have partners, and then every time you take a piece, you give that piece to your partner. It's a little bit like that, except it's a one player, there's no teams. But every time you capture a piece, so I'm white here, if I capture a black piece, that piece is gonna be returned to me as a white piece that I can then use later as a move. So one of the interesting things about Crazy House is you don't have end games. The material never goes away. It's just getting recycled back onto the board. So the games tend to be very short and brutal. The openings require extreme precision. White has a much bigger advantage in Crazy House compared to regular chess, so it's a big advantage to have white. And there's probably, I would say, less viable openings in Crazy House than there are in regular chess. There's some openings that just don't really work very well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a game I just played, well, not too long ago, and sort of give you some of the ideas, and then we can play some live after that. Playing Renaud W51-100, rated 1953. My current rating is 2034. Actually, it's higher than that because this was played, I don't know, 5 or 6 games ago. But I do expect, I haven't played Crazy House in a few years, but I do expect if I play this for a while, I'll should fairly easily get over 2200 in this game. But yeah, I was playing early, and like it's kind of some of the memories are flooding back to me on how it's played and strategies and that sort of thing. So I'm kind of relearning some stuff as we go along. Okay, so I had white. I opened e4, and we have right away. This is a fairly interesting move here. I don't know theoretically how sound it is, but it does make things very tactical very quickly. So we're capturing, queen captures, bringing the knight out. All fairly standard moves so far. And here's where we get our first Crazy House move, dropping the pawn that was captured in the center. So when he captured a white pawn, it came to him as a black pawn, but you'll see the material that you have over in near the timestamp. So yeah, this is a pretty provocative move. Obviously I can't take, otherwise the knight's on pre, and the threat really is kind of just to take. And when the bishop takes, to put another pawn there, because once you take the B pawn, he'll get another pawn, and then I've got some difficult decisions to make, and would be losing material. So the downside of the move, though, it's early dropping of material. So one of the strategies in this game is sometimes you want to kind of hoard your material a little bit early on and sort of gear up for an attack. Initiative is very important in this game. If you can weather a storm, if somebody makes a premature attack and you can weather it, you'll usually have just a bunch of pieces that you can then employ in a deadly counterattack. So my choice on here was just to kind of ignore it and try and play around this whole queenside sortie. So I just broke the pin, protect the knight, giving up that pawn. He takes, and then I just slide my rook over. So I'm going to try and grab it with the rook and gain activity on the queen side here. Yeah, if he were to say drop a pawn here in order to protect this advanced pawn. That's, I mean, that would be bad because that pawn's way more valuable in an attack than anything that you could do to protect a little bit of material. This game is fairly, the material is not as big a deal in this game compared to regular chess. It's more about initiative and attacking chances. And also the evaluation of the pieces is not really the same either. So if a pawn's worth 1, you'd say a knight and a bishop are both each worth about 2 points instead of the normal 3. A rook maybe, 3 points, and queen's worth maybe like 4. Also, you'll see later the knight is actually a little more valuable in this game compared to a bishop than the other way around, because of the ability to drop it, far into the battlefield. So you'll see that the knights oftentimes are hold up a lot better compared to bishops, compared to normal chess. Although the bishops are good too. And also you'll see, obviously pawns are more valuable just because you can advance them far up the board. You can drop a pawn on the 7th rank if there's an open square. Obviously you can't drop anything unless it's on an open square, and you can't drop it to capture. It has to be, just putting it, you can't drop it in. You could drop it to check, that's legal. But you could literally put a pawn all the way on the 7th rank and be ready to queen it on the next move. So okay, so let's see. So black plays bishop there, attacking the knight. I break the pin, and then we get the development of the knight here. Just take the pawn back, attacking his b pawn, and black goes in for this exchange, and then bringing the knight in, which is a little bit annoying. Like it's a nice knight there, and got to be careful in these sort of situations. So I'm going for that b pawn, and also by taking that pawn, it's sort of given black some issues on with his king safety, because his king doesn't really have a lot of squares. Like my king could slide out of check pretty easily, where he's kind of stuck there at the moment. He threw this check in. A lot of times you want to throw a check in just to force me to put something on the board to reduce my attacking material. So I don't really want to move my bishop here. I mean, I could, but I'd rather not be too miserly. So I put a pawn down. I've got 3 pawns in my bank of pieces, so putting one there is not too bad. Then we get this move, which is again very provocative, going for material grab. I think there are probably some better moves, like maybe bringing the rook to d8 right here, possibly, just to sort of hold the queen side a little better. So what I did do is I just took the rook. So we're each getting a rook, but I'm getting it first, and like I said, his king is kind of weak. So I had an idea on this one. So he takes, and then I drop a rook. So twofold, like I could, again, this is a double attack, the check, and then also attacking the knight there. So I could, depending on what he does here, I could just take the knight and protect my keep from my queen from being attacked. But he plays this, and so then I'm like, well, I still will have a rook. If I do this by trading, I get another rook added to my pile, and let's do it again. So now I'm thinking that what I would want is for his king to start marching out, maybe coming up to here, and then I could at that point drop a bishop on this square, and his king's got to continue to march, and that looks like that would probably be pretty good. I could see, maybe like if his king were to come here, and then I were to drop a bishop here, then his king, where can it go? If it goes back, then he's falling into a discovered attack, which would be mate. So we'd have to come up here. This is where it gets really tricky, it's like I only have 2 pawns, but his king is so exposed. Here, the other possibility is to lure him out further with a pawn drop, like that perhaps. But he could take the queen. If he takes the queen, then I get to take this, threatening a check. So that would be, that would be really good. So he wouldn't be able to take with the queen. He'd have to, if I drop a pawn here, he'd have to take it with the king, which is really interesting. So now okay, I think I see a mate here. So this move here looks like it might be mating, because if he takes that, and I got this check, and now his king can only go there, and then I can mate with the queen next move. So yeah, that would be a mate there. So yeah, that's pretty fascinating. You get it's really fun because you get these positions where you're doing these king hunts, and you're sacrificing a bunch of material, but then you mate with like a pawn or something at the very end. So it's really good for your calculation and your visualization of attacks. Let's go back. In this position, he played the rook interpose, which, so now I've got a forcing sequence. So again, I take, king's got to take, and then I drop a pawn. So that's kind of interesting because well, he can't, he's got to run. If he doesn't, if he slides his king over here, then I just can mate with a rook drop on that square. Oops. So he can't do that. So he runs. So he's got to come up here, trying to run. And then this is the other aspect of Crazy Houses. You'll see a lot of under promotions to knights. Like I said, the knight is a pretty powerful piece. And here, it's neat because it allows me to keep the attack, and keeping the check sometimes is worth a lot. I don't know, maybe it's not the best move, I'm not sure actually, but it looked kind of fun here. He went back, which I think is probably a mistake. I think, yeah, that doesn't seem like the right move. I think he had to what would be his move here? I think he's either got to come up, or yeah, I think he's got to come up into the into the middle of the board. Maybe he can play this move. Maybe that's the move right there. That's an interesting move. Maybe. Let's see. I don't have a check with the rook. And the knight's guarding everything else. I might have to find another move to continue the attacker. Yeah, I think that would have been his best bet. But he didn't do that. He went here, which is definitely a mistake. That allowed this pawn drop right here, which now he can't come up. So now he's made it right here, because that's just what I need to get the rook in for the mate. So he ran, and then that was checkmate right there. So but yeah, so it's a fun game. We're gonna do this for a while and see how it goes, see if you guys enjoy it. Make Crazy House masters out of all you. So look for more, and give me your comments and let me know what you think, if this is something you're interested in. Thank you. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.